So today in this tutorial, we're going to talk about and create some simple buttons and menu items, and basically give you some best practices around that. This is my first time doing this, so bear with me. Eventually I get better. So I'm going to start a new web document. I'm going to use the common size that I'm going to do 1920 by 1080. Common size they use for web. Please stop. So I'm going to jump directly into here. So the first thing, let's talk about buttons. You have your button states, different buttons. You have normal, focus, pressed, and disabled. And so I'm going to create these button styles basically using the current industry style, current flat type of buttons that you normally see all around, the current things that you normally see people do, and maybe show you a few shortcuts on them. So first thing I'm going to do a little round button. So only you see something like this. So I'm creating a circle, and I'm going to take away the outline. I'm just going to do black and white. I'll change it to color afterwards. I'm going to take away the outline, and I'm going to take a square. Take this square, and this is from the standpoint that you know what you're doing. And select my pen tool. So I've hit P there for the pen tool, and I'm going to, let's cut it. No, we can do this. Take that point out, and so this is going to create a triangle for me, and I'm going to make this more the strokes. No, I want it to be a solid triangle. Yeah, and now I'm going to change that triangle's color to about white, and I'm going to bring it over here, and I'm going to align it all. Center, and move this just a little bit. Get it with my eye. And I'm going to turn the whole thing. Kind of don't like the way that that's sitting, so I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. Getting closer here. Yeah. And so now I'm going to make the whole thing smaller. Now since I have the size that I want. And let's make this a blue color. We're over here. Oh, wait a minute. Because I have everything selected. Don't want everything selected. A blue color. Something. That's too much. Can't do that. A little darker. Like this. So it's basically a flat button, and normally what you would see with these is a maybe you'll see more of a really would use read more. I would normally give it more text because of accessibility issues with using read more. When a screen reader goes through and read the screen, and you have 1,001 read more, to become really, really awkward. And then I'm going to use what I want. Let me use intro. I've been using intro a lot. Yeah. Going to use intro, and maybe make it underlined, maybe not. So I'm going to size this appropriately with this. And now what I'm going to do now is come along and redline this. So I have the appropriate size that I want. And basically redlining is setting up your pixel width on, oh my god, I think it's snap to pixel to, no, I don't want to snap to pixel. Let me see if that fixed it. That fixed it. I'm gonna make this weird. So basically, this is pretty much setting the pixel width around everything to make sure that when I design something or create something to hand off to a developer, they can be assured to know how many pixels is around all of that. And so you can look at this box and you can see the width is 13 pixels. So I can actually go and do something like 15 pixels, make that a little bit bigger, and then I can set that there on the E, and then come and bring my circle out. So I know that's 15 pixels. So I can tell the developer this is 15 pixels there, 15 pixels here, and then my top and bottom is also going to be 15 pixels. So change this. Right about there. Ooh, that button is not like fitting right. Eee. And then baseline 15, 15 is gonna be 15 all around. So here I could either make it smaller so that it fit. You also have some issues here that's not properly gonna work. So because of the font and how it fixed, and it definitely is gonna work exactly like that. I'm gonna have to fix that. So 15 pixels, created that, make sure that fits nice flush up against there. These will not overshoot on web like that. So definitely fix this here. And then that is there. So we keep it here. We make it say that it's going to be 15 pixels all around there. And so this is my red line, so we know that's 15 pixels. And then we'll also say anything that touches it on the other side is also going to be 15 pixels. So normally this is how I would do it. So I know if I'm laying out a website, if this is going to lay anything, all the spacing around is going to be 15 pixels, and I make sure that I account for that 15 pixels. And then now to read more, if there's different states, this would be the normal state. From there you need like a focus state. Normally the focus state on a button is going to be a little bit darker. So I'm going to pick like a darker blue. So that's focus. Next is going to be the press when it's actually clicked. So it's a press state, and this is normally going to be a little bit lighter. So we'll pick a little lighter blue for the press state, and then you have a disabled state. So now come along and we're going to make this disabled. And I think I'm going to probably pick some, I don't know, maybe, I'm trying to think about what I want. Normally it's grayed out if you do, but no, I won't do that. I was getting ready to create a library, but normally it's grayed out, and so I can create a gray that I like, or select one. Let me see. So this will be, I don't think that's light enough. Let me go here. So this be grayed out, and if that's also grayed out, then I want read more to be grayed out too. So these are the different button states that are attributed with some text. Next, let's do something that you would normally see. A button with rounded corners. So now we're going to do a button. Let me see, rounded corners, and it's going to be like real subtle. rounded corners. Actually, I'm going to make that a stroke. It looks pretty good to me. Now let's change the color. Let's actually do orange. Orange would be different. Maybe not. Maybe like a... So, we have a button here. Make it a little bit smaller. Text. Sign up. And I'm going to line this around. Maybe make the text the same color as the, maybe not. So visually, I mean, you let Adobe Illustrator line this up, and then visually you see it's still kind of off. So I'm going to come down and bring it down just a little bit. With this text in there, it's a little too wide. Also, the top looks kind of like fat. I want it to fit in here a little bit better, and so fit that, and then this is having some trouble. So let me vertically center this. I think that's about right. If I would do a color, I would probably do gray. Yeah. Not a... Yeah, that's a little bit better. So, signing up. I'm still a little bit unsure about this, because maybe I want to do like a 0.5 stroke on this. Let me see how that looks. I'm just fiddling around here with this button. So now I have this sign up button here. Next thing I'm going to do is redline this button, so I know where things sit. And so, it's just about 15 pixels on each side, so you know that. But the top and bottom is definitely going to be different. Stop that. Here, very top of that S there, we can actually see that the height is about 5.5 pixels on that. Okay. And so why do I do this? You do this for when you're making multiple buttons. You need to know you want to make sure that width and height is the same throughout. So here we have sign up. What if it was like my name or something? So this is sign up. What if it's like my full name? And you want to also make that look just as good in your design. You have one side taken care of. You just let me lock this. Two, we're gonna lock it, bring it over. And there, that would that would give you the same output as that, and so therefore you created the pixels within your design. So I'm going to take out my red line in here so you can see, but yeah, and so pretty much you have like the same thing, and that's the point of making sure that you redline things so you have the same width and height on all the buttons when you go to create a design, and then plus it makes your design look a lot neater. And so now we're going to go into we're going to move into making our different states for the button. So there we have, this is the normal state. We're going to do a focus. The focused, I think it should be filled in when you focus. But I just thought about this. So I made, when you fill it in and you also design it, you want to make sure that you keep the stroke in there too, because if you don't, you have this weird thing on the web where it'll get small, it look like it shrink or kind of like it jumps up. So you want to make sure you have that stroke in there. I'm saying a lot. Next, we're going to do like the press state, and so this is going to be, since we have it, we're going to do lighter, like a lighter pink. And then the stroke is going to be a lighter pink too. And also do the same thing here, lighter pink. And then finally we're going to do like the disabled state. And once again, I'm going to make that gray. Also make sure that I grab the hex values of that to put that on the stroke of both of those to make sure we don't lose that size there, and that makes it gray. And then we're going to turn the text inside there white. White. Okay, so these are different button states, and that's how you do that. How do you do these things where you have a button with an arrow? And the best thing I suggest with like making little arrows and things like that, I normally suggest that you don't make it hard on yourself. So within here you have, click on the erase tool, you hold it down, you'll find the scissor tool, and you can create a square. And in the square, oh, it's white. Let's make this a color that you can actually see. Do block. I want you to take your scissors tool and you cut the corners out. So you cut this corner, cut that corner, and then you come back with your direct selection tool by hitting A, and then you can take those out. And so this is like a perfect 90-degree angle here. And I can take this, make this smaller, and then increase my pixel width and height here. So the stroke, I'm gonna do 1. Let's bring it, bump it up there. Let's take it back down to 1 because that was ugly. Ugly. And then you just change the direction of it. And so you have an arrow. You have a perfectly symmetrical arrow. You don't have to click or create anything else. But that will now make you have to go back and resize everything. So I'm going to take 15, put on outside of the arrow, and I'm going to bring this over, and I'm going to also take my 15 to the other side, and I think I want to bring sign up in just a little bit. Okay, so bring a sign up in just a little bit. Oh, let me also put this back over here. I do that a lot. I move things and I put them back. And I think everything should also still have the same width and height. I don't think there's any mess up there. Top. Wait a minute, what's going on here? Not the same width and height. That's a little bit different. Oh, because of the S, I see. That's what that happened. That same thing on there? No, that fit better over there. What the hell? How come that's just different? This is 12. It's also 12. So yeah, somewhere along the line, somewhere here, that bottom is different. And just looking at it, you would never tell. Let me lock that. And so this is why you redline everything to make sure things are fitting accurately within your design. And so now I can go bring that up. Bring this up. I definitely know If this fits, same width and height. Good. And then you can go back and create your different states off of that with an arrow. So now you know how to make an arrow. You know how to make your different states. Oh, wait a minute, something coming down with it. Oh my god. Make an arrow. You definitely know how to make your different states here. Let's see. And we make the final one. Okay. So here we have this completely pink. Well, it's the same as here, so I can just go and copy and use my eyedropper tool. And then we make this same thing with my text. We'll also make it white. Then I'm going to select each one of these and send it back so we can also see how that all worked out. Ooh, this also needs to be white too, so I'm going to go in here, change that to white, and I think I'm good, yeah. So that's how you make the buttons. And then, like, if you also wanted an arrow with a circle with like an arrow like that, you do the same thing. You can go make a square like we did earlier. Make this square. I'm gonna take that off there, and then we're gonna take the scissor tool, cut off our corners, and take the direct selection tool. I just hit A, and we're going to, I hit V there. I'm gonna make that a little bit thicker. Wait. Something else happened. Bring this, make this smaller. And then if that's a 90-degree angle, you better turn it, and you better change the color of that. Probably make it a little bit smaller. And you do the same thing. And this one you'll be able to center directly within that. So if you do a center top and bottom, that should be perfect for you. And if it's not the type of stroke that you want, that's a 0.5. We'll do a 1. Make it thicker. Now I want to make it bigger. Yeah, I don't visually like how that looks. But you get the idea of it. So it's real simple and easy. Show you one last thing. So when you are dealing with shadows, when I've talked to a lot of individuals, they always show me these designs with shadows in them, and what I try to explain or convey that shadows are basically showing us elevation level. So if you have a button, so let me say you have a button, this is the ground plane here, this is the ground, this is the lowest you have, and then your button has a shadow on it that raises it up to about here. So I'm going to make this a little smaller, try to illustrate this. I'll just do another line about here, and so we'll change this to different colors to help me illustrate this point. So this is the ground plane. You created your button, it has a shadow that basically puts it above the ground plane here, and when you hover over or when it's pressed, it goes further above that ground plane, and normally it's a little lighter. If I can make that a little lighter, that'll work. It's a little lighter, and so basically this is the idea that happens when we're talking about buttons and putting shadows with them. And so let me show you how to take a button and really make it work for you. So I'm just going to duplicate this sign up button, and I'm going to create the different states. Let me zoom back in, and so I have the example up there to show you. So the white is the ground plane. I'm going to take the red off there, Let me make this a suitable color instead of pink. Ooh, let me actually do a blue. And grab the hex value there, and I'm going to go into my stroke. And we're going to do the same thing. And so, oh, this is bothering me because it wasn't the same color. Maybe this should be right. Yeah, maybe it should be white. Make it white. Let's see, is that gonna work? And then this, change it. Yeah. Okay, so we have here ground plane. I'm going to select here, and so the key is for you to put a very light shadow on there. Very light. That's directly behind it. So I'm going to preview. You see how far that is off. First thing you want to do is take the opacity all the way down. So we're talking about 20% here. And then we want to bring it all the way into the button. 0, 0. And the blur. So I'm going to have to go back out and play with it a little bit because that didn't actually work. So go back into my styles here, drop shadow. You start from here and go up. And then when we're talking about offsetting, it's like a 0.5. And you start with really small points and going up. And then if I want to, see, now it's just literally starting to get too big for me. 3, 2.5, let me try that, 2.5 pixels. And bring the opacity up is actually making it a little darker. Maybe I want the size a little smaller. But you want it to be very light, not really noticeable. And so when you look at that, you want it to be very light, not really noticeable. And this would be the your normal state of the button. That's going to be normal, and it's going to be sitting above there. Now, when we talk about focus, what's going to happen is most times, like if you're dealing in mobile, it's definitely going to be a harder shadow. But if you're dealing with web, most time in web, it's not going to be as hard of a shadow. And so here, this is more web. That's normally where I sit at. It's not going to be as hard of a shadow. And then what normally happens, the button colors here is going to get just a little bit darker when you get to that focus state with the shadow. So let me try this again. I don't know which way I want to go. If I want to go like that. Okay, we'll do that. Grab that hex value there, and I'm going to go to my stroke and do the same thing. And then when it's pressed, this is where you're going to get the elevation, and this is where you're going to show the distance, that button coming up off the plane there, coming off the ground. You have to be really careful with this because too much shadow will date the animation and make it look very old. And so I'm going to go back here. We're going to go into the drop shadows over here, and then we're going to, I hate to say that we're going to, but we're going into the drop shadows, and we're going to offset these a little more. A little more. I think that does it enough to give you the appearance that it's now. Yeah, so when you zoom out, appearance now. And then normally what happens is this button, I didn't mean to, the button itself gets lighter. And so we'll go to something that's lighter. Ooh, that's way off. But I grabbed that hex value there. Put it into the stroke. And now we have something that's a little lighter. And then if we go into the disabled state, we can do we'll do a gray on top of a darker gray. So we're going to take the drop shadow off. So let's go back and zero these out. We don't need none of it. Take the drop shadow off. We're going to use this gray again, but for the text, you would use a darker gray. It's a darker gray. Darker gray. To show that it's disabled and it's no longer in the air. What to do? No longer in the air. And there we go. And so that would give you all of those elevation levels here for a button that's raised up off the ground. So these are my typical design, my button design flow. I try not to do too much work. I always try to think about things that you can use to help make it easier, such as using a square, cutting off some corners to make an arrow or something like that. And there's a bunch of different tricks and stuff like that. And so this is currently the flat style, a style with some drop shadows that the industry is currently playing around with. And this is also how you would create, these are huge. You would create buttons and make sure that they're always like the same width and height, and the padding around the button would be the same within your design. You have to start red lining things to make sure that your designs look appropriately. And so hopefully I can bring forward more of a website design and show you how to red line throughout your website to make sure that you have a really clean design to hand off to developers. So I want to thank you for watching this. I 100% apologize if this was like completely boring, but I do want to thank you for taking your time to maybe learn a little bit of something. If you learned something, this probably wasn't for beginners because I didn't talk about the different actions that I was taking, and I wasn't talking more in depth with that. I was basically showing you more of button stakes. So thank you. Stay tuned for more tutorials, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.